All right, let's just get right into it. If you're a developer or you're in DevOps, this question has absolutely come across your desk. Which monitoring tool do I learn? Which stack do we bet on? Today, we're going to break down the big three: Datadog, Grafana with Loki, and Kibana with Elasticsearch, and give you a really clear way to make that call.
You know this scene. We have all lived this. It's the middle of the night, the pager goes off, a critical service is burning down, and you're stuck frantically clicking between different browser tabs trying to stitch together the story of what actually went wrong. This chaos, it's not just bad luck. It's a direct symptom of a disjointed monitoring setup.
And look, this is way more than just a small annoyance. Choosing the wrong stack has real consequences for the business. We're talking about your mean time to resolution, your infrastructure budget, and frankly, your team's sanity. So this isn't just about picking a pretty dashboard. It's a fundamental architectural decision.
To really get these tools, you have to understand that they're not just different products. They're built on completely different philosophies about how to handle data, especially log data. It's not just about features, it's about architecture. Let's break down the three main ways of thinking.
So first up, we've got full-text indexing. This is the engine behind Elasticsearch and Kibana. The best way to think about it is like a search engine for all your logs. Every single word gets broken down and mapped in what's called an inverted index. What does that mean for you? It means you can run these wild, unpredictable searches across massive amounts of data and get answers back in seconds. It is incredibly powerful.
Now, let's compare that to the complete opposite approach, Grafana Loki's label-based indexing. Instead of indexing every single word, Loki only indexes the metadata. The labels you give it, like app, API, or env-prod. The actual log message, it just gets compressed and tucked away. This is a totally different way of thinking, and it was designed from the ground up to be crazy cost efficient.
And then there's the third philosophy, which is what Datadog is all about: the unified, managed software as a service model. Here, the whole point is to hide the infrastructure completely. You just send your logs, your metrics, your traces, everything, to one platform. And they handle all the messy stuff: the ingestion, the indexing, the storage. It's the batteries included approach, and it's all about developer experience and getting you up and running fast.
Okay, now this table. This is where it all comes together. This is where you see the real-world impact of those philosophies. Elasticsearch, with its full-text index, needs that super-fast, super-expensive block storage. Think SSDs. Loki, on the other hand, is built to use cheap object storage like S3. And Datadog, well, they just handle it all for you. But look at that last row, operational burden. It goes from high, and trust me, they mean high, for running your own Elastic cluster, down to almost zero for a managed platform. So really, it boils down to this one crucial trade-off. With Elasticsearch, you are paying a premium in money and in complexity for unmatched search power. With Loki, you're trading some of that instant search speed, especially for random text, for a dramatically lower total cost. This is the big choice you have to make: power versus cost. All right, let's meet our first contender, Kibana and Elasticsearch. You'll often hear this called the ELK stack. For years, this has been the industry heavyweight, the absolute powerhouse for deep log analysis.
So where does Elasticsearch just knock it out of the park? Well, anytime your main job is deep investigative searching. Think about security forensics, compliance audits, or really complex text analytics. If you need to find that one specific needle in a giant haystack of messy logs and you don't even know what the needle looks like ahead of time, this is the tool for you.
But, and this is a big but, all that power comes with a hefty price tag. Running an Elasticsearch cluster is not a simple task. It is a beast that just devours RAM and CPU. You'll spend a ton of engineering time just managing the cluster, tuning things and worrying about storage costs, which can really blow up fast.
Okay, next up, Grafana and Loki. This is the new challenger, the cost-efficient one. This whole stack was basically born in the cloud-native world, and it was designed from day one to play nice with tools like Prometheus, and most importantly, to keep your bills low. If your team is already living and breathing in Grafana for all your metrics, then Loki just feels right. It's a natural fit. It uses the exact same labeling model as Prometheus, which makes jumping from a spike on a graph to the exact logs that caused it feel like magic. For any team that's running on Kubernetes and watching their budget, Loki's architecture is a total game changer.
So what's the catch? It's that full-text search performance. Because Loki isn't indexing the log content itself. Searching for a specific error message means it has to go back and scan the raw log files, which can be slower.
You also have to be smart about your labels. If you use labels with tons of unique values, like a user ID, what we call high cardinality, you can really hurt performance if you're not careful.
And finally, our third contender, Datadog. This one takes a completely different path. It's not trying to just be a log tool. It's aiming to be your one-stop shop, a fully managed, all-in-one observability platform. The biggest selling point for Datadog is speed and integration. You get logs, APM, infrastructure metrics, you name it, all in one place. And it all works together right out of the box. With this massive library of integrations and a super polished UI, you can go from having nothing to having full visibility in a matter of hours, not weeks. And you don't have to manage any of the back end yourself.
The main things to think about with Datadog are cost and control. It's a premium product, and that pricing can really climb as your data volumes grow. You're also buying into their world, their ecosystem, which can feel a bit like vendor lock-in. Plus, you have a lot less control and customization compared to hosting it yourself, which is a key thing to remember. So, with all that said, how in the world do you actually make a choice? Let's try and boil all of this down into a super simple, straight-to-the-point framework based on who you are and what your team needs the most.
Here's the cheat sheet. It's this simple. Step 1. Are you a startup? Is cost your #1 concern? Start with Grafana and Loki. That low cost of ownership is just too good to ignore, especially if you're on Kubernetes. Step 2. Are you in a big enterprise or maybe a security role where that deep forensic search is an absolute must-have? Your default choice should be Kibana and Elasticsearch, no question. And step 3, is your top priority just to move fast, get everything in one place, and not have to think about infrastructure? Start with Datadog.
And really, that brings us to the one final question you have to ask your team. Is your monitoring stack a tool that you build with, something you customize, you operate, you own? Or is it a service that you consume, something that just works, so you can focus on building your own product? Your answer to that single question will point you straight to the right solution.